Okay. B, do you want to pray us in this morning and we can get started while they're setting up?
Me?
Or Becky Ann, which is it?
Oh, it's B. Um, well, I you know, I just want to say we're in a new era again here in the States, and I want to send out a little thought that everyone is safe and loved and respected, and that we can get through the next 4 years with all of that in mind. That's my prayer for this morning.
Good. Thank you. Very cogent
Amen.
prayer. Very, very timely. Okay. So we are going to do our remote viewing today. We're going to continue with remote viewing. Last time we met 4 weeks ago, we did just a brief overview of what remote viewing is. And the truth is, no one knows. Somehow we think that people are able to send their consciousness to a designated spot, whether they even know where the spot is, they just go. And so that's what we're going to be working on today. Now, there's a couple of theories about this, and if you look on the internet, you will see people asking lots of money for their courses, which teach you step by step how to do remote viewing with a big protocol. And the idea behind the protocol is to teach anyone to remote view, whether they're psychic or not, by keeping their left brain busy and allowing their right brain then to roam free and get information from wherever their designated spot. But I think the way that I learned was psychically first. And I did learn protocols, and it was helpful. But to me, if I had to learn them both at the same time, I couldn't have. It would have made me nuts to try to learn the protocols. So that's how I'm going to teach you. Feel free to go on the internet. There is Lori Williams does have a free 3 day, she calls it master class on remote viewing. And she does, it is pretty good. It's not 3 whole days, it's like a couple of 3, 4 hours maybe. But she does give you a good overview of her protocol. And she learned that from one of the original remote viewers, who was Lynn Buchanan. And we'll be going to his site just a little bit later. So there are resources on the net, and I encourage you to shop around, see which technique you like. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the protocol that I use, which is very, very limited, but I think it's important. And then we're going to actually do a remote viewing of a photo that I have. I'll show you the photo. We'll share our results, and then we'll look at an exercise on the internet that I think will be very helpful for everybody to try to hone their senses, because we're using our senses in a different way. Last time we talked about feeling and hearing and seeing, smelling and tasting. You're going to use all those senses in a very, very different way. You're not going to use your eyes or your mouth or your ears. You're just going to go in and sense. And so I can show you a way to maybe make that a little bit stronger. But first off, it's really important that we all learn how to share our screens. Is there anybody here who doesn't know how to share their screen on Zoom? Okay, good, easy. Mickey has given us all permission to share. And what I'd like you to do is hover your button over the bottom of the Zoom thing where you have audio, video, and if you go in the middle, you'll see a green share arrow. Just click on that arrow. And when you click on that arrow, your screen should come up. All your screens that you have open should come up. Then you click on the screen that you want to share. And then at the bottom, you'll see a blue button that says share. And if you've done it right, you'll be sharing like I'm sharing my emails. Okay, do you guys want to just give that a shot? And then if you want to stop sharing, if you hover your button again, you'll see a red stop share button. And you just hit that and you'll not be sharing anymore. So if you guys want to try that, close the porn and share your screens. Because a lot of people have gotten in trouble having
There's
things
your
open.
banking and your tax ID.
So yeah, were you successful, Paula? Kevin's got his. Perfect, Kevin. Nice. Nikki, I know you know how to do this. How about Charlie? We got your screen. Perfect. Sally, we got yours. Perfect. Paula, did you show yours? Paula, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So if nothing else, we've learned how to share screens today. So it's been a successful meeting so far. So if everybody would turn their share screen off, just go down to the red button and click off. That's the red button down at the bottom by the Zoom video and audio thing. You'll see if you're sharing your screen, it'll say stop share.
Actually, mine was on top, so
Okay, could be on top.
it was
I guess,
different. Yeah.
yeah, on the configuration, but thank you for that, Paula,
Mm.
because I wouldn't have known.
So Kevin and Charlie are still sharing their screen.
So Charlie's trying to get his off. Charlie, just go to the bottom or the top, wherever your Zoom banner is. Just go there and do a stop share. Okay, it's going to be off your screen. It's going to be below your screen in the black part. So the first thing I want to talk about is okay, the biggest thing with remote viewing is we describe what we're sensing, we don't name it. And I can give you an example of that. I was doing a practice remote viewing just last week. And in my mind, I had a sense of a whole herd of lambs, little fluffy sheep, white fluffy sheep, and they were all gathered together. And so I drew little fluffy things, and put them all together. And I thought that there was a person with them, and I drew that. And when I saw the photo, there were no sheep in the photo at all. But what there were were white fluffy clouds. Right? So if I had called them sheep, in my mind, I knew I saw sheep. I mean, I could have sworn there were sheep on the site. I would have paid money to tell you there were sheep on the site. But there wasn't sheep. There was white fluffy clouds in the sky. So that's a good example of how our subconscious actually communicates with us. And it communicates with us. It doesn't have words, right? Because when we were born, we learned everything, language and everything else subconsciously. So our learning took place before words. And so to me, this is proof that when we do remote viewing, we're actually tapping into that subconscious part of us that doesn't really have words. Now, you may hear words, but again, if they're nouns, put them aside. And I'm going to show you, if I can, my whiteboard. Hang on, existing whiteboard. I'm showing you my whiteboard. I'm going to open board. Okay, so what was I going to say? All right, so let's set aside the puffy clouds for a minute. And let's look at the protocol, because I can tie it all together if you just give me just a second. Can you see my?
It's loading for me.
Okay. Have you guys got it yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is the part of the protocol that I follow, just to let you know. And it is every time I do this, and it's kind of like cueing my subconscious, like we're going to work now. I put my name in the right top hand corner of the page, where I'm at, where I'm doing the reading from, the date, and then the time, the local time. And this is important for a couple of reasons. There are people who keep statistics on themselves. They look at local time and sidereal time to determine whether or not the energies coming across the earth affect their viewing. They look at the date to find out what the weather conditions were. To me, it doesn't matter. because I'm going to go there no matter what the sidereal time is and no matter what the weather is. I've made up my mind in my paradigm that when I want to remote view, I will be able to remote view. So, but what it does do for me is it gives me, it kind of says, okay, we're going to remote view right now. And I typed this just because I couldn't write it on the screen. But I usually write it because there's something about writing with your dominant hand that kind of also clicks in your subconscious. So if you would right now, just take your take a minute and write your name, where you're at. The date is the 26th, and the time is 12:12. So if you could just do that on your paper that's in front of you, and when you're done, just we'll go back to the page. So since you've got the header there, we always give these things a number. Whether we know it, a lot of times we'll remote view without knowing what the target is, but we always give it a number. And somehow that number cues our subconscious to go to that place. Now, the number has nothing to do with the place. It's a very interesting phenomenon. The number itself has nothing to do with the place. It has nothing to do with the photo. It has nothing to do with the action that you're viewing. But what it does do is somehow cues your subconscious mind. I also tend to direct my subconscious mind just a little bit further, and I direct it to access and describe. I might type this. Maybe I will type this. Access and describe the location in the photo you will see at. And, we're going to do this for 10 minutes when we do our remote viewing. So whatever time it is, we'll put a time in. So it'd be maybe if we started at 12:15, which we're not going to, but let's say we start at 12:20, it would be 12:30. Okay. You will see at 12:30 local. That's my time, whatever your time is. So what you're doing is you're telling your subconscious mind that you're gonna access and describe this location that you're going to see in the photo. You could access and describe the action depicted in the photo, but we'll cover that a little bit later. So one thing that I learned from the protocols that a lot of people use is after they write the number, they do what's called a gestalt. And if you look, I'm just giving you an example of a gestalt. That is your overall impression of the site. But the interesting thing is you haven't had a chance to develop an impression of the site. But this is just something that your subconscious mind does with your pen. So the way that goes is, let me grab, come on, buddy. I'm going to grab the pen. And I'm going to say the numbers. As I say the numbers, you write them down and then just allow your pen to squiggle. And this is what it's going to look like. If I was going to pretend it would take me forever to write the numbers with this pen because I can't do it. But so I'm going to say the number is 2025 10126-1234, and that's how quickly you do the gestalt. You just whatever comes off your pen. So if you want to practice that, we could do that like a couple, 3-4 times just to give you a feel for what that feels like. So I'm going to say let me move this so I can read it. Or maybe I can't. Okay. So write down these numbers and then just let your pen squiggle. It could be big, it could be small, it could be sideways, it could be up and down. It doesn't matter. But that is going to be your first contact with the site. So write down 2025 0126 and then just stop or squiggle. Okay, let's try it again. 2025 0126-1234 Gestalt. Let's do it one more time. 20250126-1234 squiggle. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing right now. And does anybody want to share what theirs look like? And were they surprised? Let's see. Did I stop? Close my board. Does anybody want to share what theirs look like? Let's see. Charlie's holding his up. Let's see if I can't get him big for some reason.
Charlie, you'll have to turn off the blur in your background for us to see it.
Let's see, Sally, can you hold yourself a little? For some reason, I got you guys all small. My view must be gallery. Okay, better, way better. Okay. Do you see, where's your squiggle, Sal?
Move it
Oh,
up.
you all right, lift it up.
There it is.
Oh, good, perfect, perfect,
nice.
perfect. How about, good, Charlie. Nice. Does anybody else want to show theirs? Paula, what you got? Good, nice, very good. Good. So those were hopefully happened when you weren't thinking, right? You just allowed your pen to do whatever your pen was going to do at the time. All right. So now you're remote viewers. So what I think I want to do, I was going to do the practice first, but I don't want you to think too much about this. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go into the remote view, and the way that that's going to go is get a fresh piece of paper and set it in front of you. Put your name and the date and the location, your name, location, and the date and the time, which would be 12:19 my time, whatever time it is for you local. And what we're going to do is I'm going to lead you into kind of a relaxation exercise, if it's okay with you. And during that exercise, I'm going to say the word target. When I say target, what will happen to you is you will all of a sudden find yourself on the target, however you do that. Remember, we talked about maybe opening the curtains and seeing the target in front of you. We talked about that some people kind of fly over it and come into it. However it is that you view the target, when I say the word target, you will be at the target. And then I will lead you through a couple of descriptors. And they will go something like this. Color, and you write the first thing that comes. You just write, don't think. Color and write. Texture, and then you write. Dimensions, write. Are there people there? And you put yes or no. Are there, is there biologicals there, which is the general term for people and animals? Are there what are the textures? You just write it down. What are the, and we're just going to go through it like that, and we're going to do that just for a couple of minutes. And then I'll show you what you were looking at, and you can see how close you get. I mean, how close you get. So I don't want you to have any expectations. And does anybody mind if we tap first? Because I will tell you the secret to my sauce is doing the tapping. Does anybody mind doing that? If you're not familiar with it, it's going to sound really negative and you're going to be like, what is she doing? But I tell you, what you're doing is you're kind of bringing your underlying thoughts to the surface so that you can tap the energy off them. You'll find yourself taking a deep breath. You might find yourself yawning. You might find yourself sighing. But as you do that, you'll realize that it's kind of like you're ready to go. Okay. So
Terrie, question. I have a question.
Sure.
Do we do it with our eyes closed?
What, the remote viewing?
Yeah.
Eyes
closed. So.
That's a good question, because what I didn't do is tell you, as you get these things, like texture and color and taste and smell, sounds, I'm going to ask you to write down what you get. So if you did it with your eyes closed, it would be tough to write down unless you can write with your eyes closed. And some people do that. Okay, Char? Okay. All right, so let's do a round of tapping, and I'm going to do it slow. I think everybody's pretty much familiar with it, and it's only going to take a minute or two. So what I want you to do is start right here on your karate chop point, and you can turn off your sound if you don't want people to hear you saying it, but I would like you to say it out loud. Say what we're going to repeat after me, so it's kind of like a follow along. So even though I have got the first clue about remote viewing, I deeply and completely accept myself. I'm not hearing. Can you say it? Even though I don't have the first clue about remote viewing, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, we're going to go to the inside of the eye. I'm going to do this remote viewing to the outside of the eye. What do I even think I'm doing? I can't do this. Oof. Underneath the eye. This is really stupid. Nobody can do this. Underneath the nose. I know I can't do this. This is a new thing. It's really scaring me. Underneath the lip. This is scaring me. And then take your hand and make a claw because you're going to try and get all the points on your collarbone, under your collarbone. I'm never going to get this remote viewing. And then there's a point right on your bra strap if you're a woman, or right under your armpit if you're a guy. And just tap that point and say, this is like the dumbest thing I've ever tried to do. And then we'll do one more round. Inside of the eye, this is the dumbest thing I've ever tried to do. Outside of the eye, this is never going to work. Under the eye, I can't believe that I'm even going to give this a try. Under the nose, what does she even think she's doing? Under the lip, she's not a very good teacher, but whatever. Under the collarbone, this is just a waste of time. Under the armpit, can't believe I'm doing this. Okay. Everybody just take a deep breath if you haven't already. Did you feel some release of the anxiety about this? Okay, good. Good. I love it because you get to bring you get to clear that subconscious of everything that's going to clog it. All right. So as you find yourself in your chair, take a big stretch your arms, stretch your legs, and be excited. Allow that energy to come into you, the energy that is the information and the knowledge that you could do this. This remote viewing is something you wanted to do for a very long time. You know you're psychic. And what we're going to do is use those psychic powers, those God-given birthright powers of yours, to look into another location, to look at another place, somewhere we've never been, and we don't even know where we're going. And isn't it wonderful to be curious and to be excited about this new experience? Take another deep breath in, and as you do, breathe in all of the information that you are connected to everything that ever has been, ever will be, ever was, and will be in the future. All dimensions, all places, all locations, all times, everything is available to you right now in this moment. Take another deep breath. And as you do, bring in the information that your senses are sharpened to the point where you'll be able to see through time, through space. Open up your third eye. You can see the light shining in as your vision goes from blurry to ill-defined, now to clear and colorful with perfect outlines. You could see everything. Now your nose, as you take a deep breath through your nose, you can smell the smells of distant lands, distant locations, distant times, because you are there. Take another deep breath. Breathe in through your mouth, and as you do, you can taste the salt in the air if there's water. You can taste the dryness of the desert. You can taste the moldiness, the sourness of the swamps. Everything is available to you if you just open up to it. Open up your ears and you can hear the wildlife. You can even hear plants growing. That's how good your hearing is when you remote view. And you can hear things in the distance and you can hear things in that time. Now take another deep breath and allow that energy just to melt into you. You don't need your body for this. Your body is merely a vehicle for this time, this place. But we're going to transcend our bodies. We're going to allow our energy to come up through the top of our head now. And we're going to allow it to connect with that 95% of our energy that is scattered throughout the universe, that knows all, sees all, and can direct its senses to any place. And as we come into this energy, we fill all of the void around us, with our soul, with our spirit, with our curiosity, with the knowledge that we can find what we're looking for. We don't know how, but it doesn't matter. We know that it is. And as we take another deep breath, we sit and relax in this wonderful knowledge. Now, in a moment, I'm going to say the word target. And when I do say the word target, you will find yourself focused on the target, which is the subject of today's practice. 3, 2, getting deeply relaxed. 1, target. And as you come into the target, what color do you see? Are there any other colors? Are you outside? What do you hear? What do you smell? What does the ground look like? What does the sky look like? Is it clear? What are the textures? Are there people there? If so, why are they there? What's the purpose of this place? If I was at that place, what would I feel? Looking at that place, what do I feel? Are there animals there? Are there vehicles there? What is your overall impression of the site? And if you need to make another line drawing, go ahead and do it. Now take a moment, step back. And I'm going to say target one more time. And if you sense any patterns, repetitive feelings, anything like that, feel free to draw them. Don't name them, draw them. For example, crumbly ground, smooth ground, hard surface, hard structure, soft body. So I'm going to say target. 3, 2, 1, target. Take a few minutes and draw any repeating patterns, anything that comes into your mind. Okay, that's it. Put your pens down and I will show you the what we were looking at. All right, what'd you get? feel free to unmute and just talk about what you got. And don't be afraid that you missed, because chances are you didn't.
I like racetracks, but I sure didn't get that.
Well, you won't, Char, but did you get green for the color, or gray, or dark green, or white, or brown?
I got the large, very large, maybe the largest in the world, statue of Buddha.
Okay, you named it, Char.
Yeah.
You
Buddha.
committed the ultimate no, 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 no.
Oh, I didn't know. No. Okay.
Okay, but what is a Buddha? So let's talk about that. Buddha. So to you, Buddha, what does Buddha mean to you?
Compassion.
Compassion. Okay. But it also means it also the statue itself would have been hard. It might have been cold. It would have been metal. It would have been shiny. It would have been smooth. It would have been glossy. And I mean, that would have, if you just used the description, you would have been describing the fence, right?
Yeah, it was yeah, it wasn't like metal, it was like material, like clothing, like the Buddha was wearing clothing, sitting in a lotus position. The predominant color was green.
Good. You got the green.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Beautiful. Lots of colors and you got green. That kind of tells me you were there. You just named it instead of describing it. Anybody else? Anybody here? What sounds did you hear? Any sounds?
I didn't get any sounds, but I got gray surrounded by circles of greenery, like plants.
Nice. That's what you
Yeah.
got.
And hills in the background.
Hills. Okay. A lot of times there is hills, there's like sloping hills, but a lot of times vegetation can be confused for hills
Yeah.
just because they look like hills. Beautiful. Beautiful. How about did anybody get uh, loud, thunderous, clomping, uh, people noises? Did anybody get anything like that?
I didn't get sounds, but I got majesty.
Okay, majesty.
Mhm.
Okay, so you went with, that's interesting. Charlie's reverence in your majesty. So I wonder if one of these horses is named Majesty.
Mm.
I don't know. I won't be able to tell you that, but there's maybe the horse is majestic, whatever that means to you. But I love the circling vegetation, really good.
Yeah.
Did anybody
I
else
got-
get, what'd you get? So,
I got a circle of white
nice.
and red. I got
Okay.
silence, smooth. There were people. They were there to observe. And I got a feeling of excitement and curiosity. I got wildlife and I got chariots of some sort and grass.
Okay, so you named it. You named chariots, right?
Yeah.
If you would have said forward motion, forward motion on something,
Oh.
just forward motion.
Well, you asked if there were vehicles,
yeah.
and chariots came to mind.
Yeah. Well, look at even this guy's here. Then everybody sees who saw red. There's a red person.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And there's the green. If anybody drew a repeating pattern like that,
Yeah.
and there's a caterpillar there.
Mhm.
So
I drew grass.
mhm, good.
I didn't name it, but I drew it.
And yeah, that's fine. So the texture would have been what? The texture would have been hard. It would have been in the grass part, it might have been like softer. But here in the bush part, it would have been rough texture. Um, we could have looked at the texture of the rails would have been smooth, would have been cold. We're outside. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Kevin, what you got?
Well, the first thing I got was blue green, which would make sense. Kentucky bluegrass kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And then I got that it was clear weather and there weren't any people there other, we had the jockeys, but we have no audience.
Right.
And
There's
then
no. Mhm.
I got the feeling of a backyard setting sort of thing, that there were animals and cars parked.
Oh, did you? Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you could just list off a little slower, I have trouble writing.
Okay. Yeah. The if we go too slow, Kevin, the left brain is going to take over and say,
Okay.
if it's
Okay.
green, there must be brown, and if it's brown, there must be orange. So what we want to do is, I mean, and we can keep that in mind. And in a minute, you won't need me. I
Okay.
just kind of, yeah, you won't always be doing it with somebody telling you. You'll just run through the checklist in your head. But I just wanted to give you kind of a first look at. Did anybody do repeating patterns? Because I would tell you, I was training another woman to do this remote viewing, and use this picture, and she had a bunch of little circles, and she's like, "Where did the circles come from?" I said, "Those are the guy's butts." You know, you can see their little. I mean, that's how we pick things up. Is just little snatches that then you learn to put together. But initially, so does anybody feel like they weren't? You're being very, very, very Heidi. Where are you?
My first impression was a circle, but I thought of when you said target, I thought of a target like for archery.
Oh, well, but see, that's your subconscious mind telling you that. A
And it
circle.
was red and white.
Mm-hmm. And there's
And when I saw the picture, I thought, well, they were running around a circle with white
right.
fences,
Mm-hmm.
and there
And
was
there's what.
grass underfoot. And so some of it I got.
Mm-hmm. But you were at the target. Right. I mean, the point I'm
Yeah.
trying to make is there was 1,700 words in the English lexicon, 17,000, 17 some number, 17. No, it's 170,000. Of all of those words, you guys came up with green, you came up with round, you came up with vegetation circle in a circle. So what I'm trying to tell you is you went to the site. You were there because you came up with the things that you came up with. So what do we do? Like Charlie with his Buddha, that's very common. So one thing that we can do, I'm gonna take this off and I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna bring this back up. Hang on, let me go to my whiteboard again.
So Terry, when you use the word target, I didn't really get that it was a target that you had picked.
Okay.
And the other thing is, remote viewing must be happening every night when you dream, right? You go to places and you see people and cars and territories.
Sure. I think that's astral travel chart, and it's a little bit different
Oh,
than remote viewing. At least the communities differentiate themselves. Because astral travel happens at night. This is a conscious act of sending your consciousness out. But what I was going to say is, like when you're doing these things, and it's very common, like me with my sheep, like Charlie with his Buddha, like Sally with her target. Sometimes we have a preconceived notion. Sometimes we go there before we're supposed to go there. And one way that you can handle that, or the way that the community handles it, is they have a section over here called AOL, and that means analytic overlay. And that is a fancy word for stuff I can't get out of my head. So in the analytic overlay of this, for Charlie, he would have written, come on, buddy. He would have written Buddha, Buddah. Sally would have written Target. Who else had? Somebody else had an overlay. But once it seems like once you write whatever it is on your brain, it knows, your subconscious says, okay, I got it. But what you can do then is go back like we did with Charlie. Is that I don't even think that's how you spell Buddha, but that's how I spell it. But like with Charlie, what you do is you would start to describe, okay, what is Buddha? What is the Buddha? He's, we went through that whole checklist. Taller than the surrounding area, hard to the touch, cold to the touch, smooth, metal, or whatever he was made out of. And then you would describe it that way, and he would have gotten several elements right. Sally, if she would have said target, and then, okay, circular, circles upon circles, circles within circles, and white and red, whatever colors she came up with. So that is really how that's how you were there. You just threw yourself off. You let your left brain take over, and say the noun target. So that's how we get around that, is by just having a list of analytic overlays. A lot of times when we go back at the target, like one of the first targets I ever did was Mount McKinley or something. He just did this giant mountain. And the first thought I had was national park. And so I did an analytic overlay, and of course it wasn't a national park. And so there is always, your subconscious is always trying to communicate with you. You just have to sometimes parse out what it means. And that is really what practicing this is all about. It's not that you can't get to the target. You can get to the target. It's once you're there, learning how to cooperate with your subconscious mind to understand what it's trying to tell you. And in that way, you then begin to strengthen all of those senses that your subconscious has for you, but you haven't been using because you didn't know you could. Right? Any questions so far? So how was it for you guys? Did you have fun, or are you never going to do this again, or what do you think?
I'd like to do it some more.
It's a hoot.
Yeah.
So me and a couple of my friends, we meet every Friday at 2, and we work on these. I can get you guys to a level where you'll be able to just walk in that meeting if you wish, and we can do practice sessions, because I think the more we practice together, there's something about the mind melt, where you kind of just pick up things from people as you go along. So after the next couple, we'll do this a couple more times, and then I'll talk to my friends and see if we can open that up to you guys. We have so much fun doing this. I mean, we really do. We learn a lot. So,
Terrie, did you
yes.
use remote viewing in your job as an inspector?
That's such a sore subject right now. But yes, as an inspector general, I used a lot of psychicness. I don't know that I trusted my remote viewing at that point, Charlie, but we use it right now to find missing people, is what we use it for. You can use it to find missing people, missing things. If you're a historian, Charlie, you could go back in history. I want to go to the War of 1812 or whoever, whatever, and I want to see what Napoleon was doing then, where he was. And you can verify that. That's the fun part of it. If you go back in time, you can verify. There's a lot of organizations that talk to ETs and crap like that. I don't recommend that. I mean, it's something you could do. I don't recommend it when you're starting out, because you can't verify. So you don't know if it's your left brain or your right brain. You don't know if you're right. This way, if we shoot for an 80% accuracy on the target, which is eventually where we're going to get to, and you'll get there, the next couple of times you do it. then you're going to be golden. You're going to be right up there with everyone who does this because we always shoot for 80%. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to take you to a website. Does anyone have any questions? B, are you back? Right all? No? Okay. All right. So we're going to go to.
Yes, I'm back. I'm just listening.
Okay. Did you want to share what you got?
No, I've been using you guys as a body double to like make myself motivated to organize some stuff. So
Okay. All right. That's cool. All right. Let's go to, I'm going to do a share now. I'm going to do another share. I want to show you the site. And I want to give you just, I know we got to go soon, so I just don't want to keep you, but I do want to give you this site. And where did it go? Hold on. Hang on. Let me just open this real quick. Okay. I'm losing my mind. There we are. Okay. So if you look, I haven't shared it yet. Have I? Okay. Now I'm sharing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the site is www.crviewer.com. And there's, let's see, let me go back. This is Lynn Buchanan's site. This is what it looks like, crviewer.com. You can go to free resources. And he's got a target of the week. This is how you could practice. And as you can see, the targets there's like 10 years worth of targets from 2006 to 2016 here, and they're all blind to you, to me. And this is how we practice. So you come here and you do your remote viewing. What we do is we do the remote viewing and then we pick the date. So we would have the remote viewing and then we pick, say, June 7th, 2006. I'm going to open this just to show you that you can, select your basic level of tasking. And the basic is the target is an event. We'll talk about that later. And then when you click for feedback, the target comes up. And I don't want to prejudice anybody, but this other cool thing I want to show you that I think we can practice real quick that will help get you kind of, here we go. What is happening? Okay. So you see, so what I went to was P to it, is what they call it. And these are just photos. Oh, come on. Anyway, these are just photos. So if you were remote viewing this photo, you can practice a little bit with the photo in front of you. And the way you would do that is, okay, how am I going to describe this? I'm going to describe this as colors: blue, white, red, black. I'm going to describe this as brown. What are the textures? Carpet would be have a rough texture. The wall would have a smooth texture. The table would have like a glossy feeling texture to it. The photos, the glass and the photos are reflective. The frames would be smooth. And you just go to these pictures and you just pick out things because we don't think this way. When we look at a photo, we don't go through it and say, "Oh, I bet that office smells really bad." It probably smells like lunch or body odor or a cigar. And we wouldn't say, "Ooh, the atmosphere." I mean, this is making my stomach hurt. I don't know about you guys, but the atmosphere is really, to me, it's tense, a tense atmosphere. And this is Cheney, right? This is Dick Cheney, I'm pretty sure. And you could say that there's, a wind. This could be described, the map could be described as a window or something square. And what repetitive patterns do you have? There's lots of squares in this picture, right? So if you had a bunch of different size squares, that would be your repetitive pattern. What is the purpose of this room? You would say it's an office, it's work. It feels like work, it feels like important work. Um, and whatever goes along with that. How do I feel looking at the site? I feel ill, frankly. I'm sure that's a part of what's going on, but I feel ill. How does an individual who's in the site feel? He feels important. He feels like he's got his feet on the desk. He feels important, right? So you just take your time and write down as many things as you can about these sites, the pictures. Let's find another one. Let's find one a little bit nicer. All right. So here you go. You've got sunshine, you're outdoors, reflective surface, smooth texture, cold texture. It's like a happy atmosphere. You can feel the difference, can't you, between those two photos, what it feels like. And that's what I'm trying to get you to practice is how does it make you feel? How does the person in the picture feel? Well, I feel happy and they look satisfied, right? I want to be there. It makes me feel like I would love to be laying in the sun, drinking a beer or root beer or whatever they got. So, you know, and the more you do that, I have lists of attributes. Okay, look at this, how cute. So there's a biologic, there's grass. You would say biologic. So that could be dog, raccoon, animal, whatever, human. There's water in the picture. There's orange and silver and smooth and wet, and it smells like wet dog. And the sun is probably really hot that day, and it makes me feel joyful. And anybody in the picture would feel joyful too. It's just fun. So yeah, so you could just go through those pictures. If you want, you could remote view. I've used these pictures as remote viewing too, just to see if I could get to those targets. In that case, you would write on your paper, access and describe target 168 on CRV site or whatever you want to describe it as. And then you would hit the target when you were done describing it. So you can get to the target. You got there today. So now the thing to do is to develop your senses and your ability to describe the target in a way that includes all your senses. So what does it smell like? What does it look like? What does it taste like? What is, anything that you can describe about the picture. So let's see. I'm gonna stop sharing. So you got the site, right? crviewer.com. And it's under free stuff. There's other sites, there's other resources, but I really want you guys to try to develop as many descriptors as you can on your own, because I think that's better. There are people who use lists of things, but to me, that's kind of involving your left brain a little bit more than I want to. So when I go to the target, what hits me about the target? Like when you walk into a room, what hits you about that room? Is it the color? Is it the smell? Is it the sound? Is it the wetness or the dryness or the saltiness so develop your senses that way. Are there any questions? Anybody have any questions
So
about?
if we're going to practice using the targets on that site, we pick a number blind, we just pick a number, do a remote viewing, and then go and look at the picture?
If you're going to, yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to do the remote viewing and then pick the target. It always works. I don't know how, but you do the remote viewing first, then you go to the site and you just pick a target. And that's how we do it on Fridays.
Okay.
Because your subconscious knows what you're going to be seeing. So I look forward to hearing about your practices.
Paul, I think we ought to try that.
It's so fun. To me,
We
it's
try
so
it with
fun.
Jean.
Yeah, that'd be fun with Jean. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Yeah, Terry,
Any
that,
questions?
that could come in real handy.
Hmm.
Mhm.
John is always losing his cell phone and his keys.
There you go. There you go. That you could use dowsing for too, though. But yeah,
Yeah. Praying to St. Anthony, there's a number of different methods you can use, but I think I'd like to add that too.
So,
Nice,
Terry, are there any practical aspects to this? I mean, you're enjoying it, you're enthused about it. Does it have any practical applications?
yeah, sure, chart. People look for treasure. There's a way people try to figure out what the stock market's going to be doing in 5 days, 5 years, 5 months. People look, like Sally mentioned, they look for things. Uh, people, did I say look for treasures? We look for missing people. But I mean, there's a lot of applications, and the application I like is to go back in the past. Take me back to December 7th, 1947. What happened on that day? What was the big news of the day? Because you can check that. You can, Google that and then come up with the headlines or whatever. So I mean, there's lots of ways of using it, and the biggest thing is, Charlie, it kind of amps up your psychic ability. It gives you more confidence in your ability to understand the unknown, to understand the unknowable, because nobody knows how we do this, and yet we do it. How interesting, how fun. How fun is that?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Terry. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you guys are welcome. I hope if you have any questions during the week or during the month, shoot me an email,
Awesome.
and we can definitely get your questions answered. I'm gonna if you guys, well, let's see. I mean, I've got several cheat sheets that can be used. And next month I'll give those to you, but I hope that this month you kind of work to try to develop, as many things as you want to look at on your own, the things that are important. And I've been studying this for 2 years and I'm still learning a lot. So it kind of, if you're really want to get into it, you just need to keep working with it. And then you can add your dowsing to find things on the map, based on your remote viewing of the area, those kind of things. So it's a way to put everything together.
Awesome.
Okay. And we finished at 1 o'clock.
Thank you so much. This has been very enlightening.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
looking
glad.
forward to practicing and learning more about how to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And like I say, there's all kinds of resources on the web. The woman's name is Lori Williams Masterclass. Just Google that, it'll probably come up. It's Lori, Lori Williams. And then there's all kinds of people. There's one that I it's up to you, but I would encourage you not to waste time with. I kind of spent a little bit more time with them than I wanted to. They're called the Farsight, and it's Courtney Brown is the guy who runs the Farsight. Bless his heart, he talks to ETs, he thinks, and does a bunch of stuff, and maybe he does, but that's not necessary in my world at this time. But if you're interested in it, definitely farsight.org is a place to go. Another guy is Daz, D-A-Z Smith. He's a British guy who teaches remote viewing online. SRI remote viewing will bring you manuals and all kinds of things. It just depends on how deep in the woods you want to go, how much you want to learn, how much you want to know. And anybody who wants to, I'll teach you as much as I know because it's a fun thing. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thanks, Terry.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a great month.
Thank
Talk
you.
soon.